Welcome to Speaking from Experience from the team at CorticoX, an experience-led transformation firm that helps companies unlock growth by aligning strategy, technology, and human-centered design. We are experienced activists, grounded in the belief that what's best for people is what's best for the organization. I'm Len Devanna. In this series, I sit down with leaders who've done more than talk about experiences. They've built them, they've led them, and they've learned from their journeys. These are the real stories behind great experiences. If you like what you hear today, please follow the show, leave a review, and check out the show notes to learn more about CorticoX. Let's cue the jingle and start the show. Today's guest has done just about everything you can do in digital. He's led strategy and innovation at global firms. He's built social movements inside nonprofits. He's led a myriad of enterprise transformation efforts. And now he's the CEO of ThirdDoor Media, the company behind industry juggernauts like search engine Len and Marc. ThirdDoor Media was recently acquired by Semrush. Marc Sirkin has always been ahead of the curve, whether it was digital communities in the early 2000s, the explosion of content marketing, or now the AI-driven transformation of media, marketing, and the customer journey. And on a personal level, Marc is also a friend, a proud husband, a proud father, and a reasonably good VR golf player. Marc, thank you for joining us on Speaking from Experience.
Thanks for having me, Len. It's great to be here.
Let's jump right into it, friend. As I shared in the intro, you've done an awful lot in tech. You have had a front row seat to every wave of our digital revolution, from the birth of the internet as we know it today, to social, to cloud, to mobile, and now AI. Does this moment feel different to you? And if so, why?
Yeah, it does feel different. It feels different, but not the first time I felt this way. I've told this story to a bunch of people over the last, couple of weeks as I've been trying to frame this out. 93, 94, I was working as a graphic designer. I learned about the internet in Wired magazine. And I remember being at UPS. I remember having Wired magazine, and somebody was like, "What's that?" I'm like, "Wired magazine." Obsessed with the internet. Got my hands on a modem. Got on the internet. Started going to some networking. I was in Atlanta at the time. Started going to some networking things and met a guy who was running an internet company, which was like, oh my God, there's companies that do this. It's amazing. And ended up building a website as a proof of concept, kind of taught myself HTML, not a coder, I'm a graphic person, and suddenly found myself on the internet. Looking back, I don't think at that time I knew how transformative the internet. It took us 20 years to get here from 93, 94. But looking back, 1987 looks very different than 1999, let's say. It looks very different than 2025. I suspect, and I'm willing to bet, that the AI revolution is that, if not plus. Meaning, I think in some amount of years, our world would be completely transformed. I think the difference between the internet, let's say, printing press, internet, AI, just as a general framework, I think it's going to happen overnight. It's not going to take 20 years. And I think that's why there's some urgency in my own education and my own thinking about this. But I think for all of us, it's here, right? Like super intelligence, quote unquote, superhuman intelligence, let's say, is here. And now we're going to try to figure out what the hell to do with it all. And I think it's a really exciting time. Scary as hell, but like, wow, so exciting.
So like you, I go back a bit, hence the grays, but I'm old enough to remember things like NCSA, Mosaic Alpha 7. You probably do as well. Yeah.
I still have a file. I have like Mozilla, like point whatever. I found it on a CD. The CD, first of all, still loaded. I have a CD drive that actually still works, but I found the file. I was like, oh my God, it's here. There it is. It's real history in digital form. So yes, I agree.
It doesn't surprise me even a little bit, but I do fondly remember the first animated GIF. I'm like, oh my goodness, we can do that now.
Can I just tell you that I thought I knew about internet stuff at that time. Let's say that's probably circa 94, 93. And I saw it moving and my brain melted. Like literally like, oh my God, what am I seeing? And of course, animated GIFs kind of stink, but look, spinning logos and burning things are the precursor to all the great stuff we have today. So it's all good.
But at the time, it was clear. So I had a similar journey with you, and it was very, very easy to see certainly the opportunity, but also understand how brands could leverage it. And you could almost see the web as we know it today, just sort of sliding right in as the next tool. it just feels, as you say, as big, if not bigger, but exponentially more invasive, right? So the challenges of embracing, adopting, understanding the use cases in the enterprise, woefully more complex than early internet. Would you agree?
I do agree. I think there's lots of lessons. We've been through this now a couple of times, whether it's the internet itself and HTML, Flash, and all the stuff that happened with, Director and Flash, and all the animation stuff that we went through, the mobile revolution, the video revolution, the social revolution. Like, we can name these revolutions, these waves, build, 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 build. I think what's different here is that mobile, bad example, like some of those technologies don't escape the marketing universe. I think AI and my introduction to AI, because AI has been around since the 50s, right? And machine learning, and it could be, and so, I had been learning about future technologies for years now. And, in the medicine field, in the manufacturing field, in the robotics field, in the healthcare field, we're now seeing a direct impact on the marketing field. But like these technologies have been around, right? So like in a way, if the internet took 20 years to sort of become commercial, actually it took much longer because the stuff was around for a lot longer. AI has been around for a while, or machine learning has been around for a lot longer. I think what we're talking about here specifically is generative AI, right? Generative AI, this LLM powered stuff that's blowing all of our minds in different ways. Yeah, I think it is different. I think it fundamentally is different. I think the autonomous nature potential of it, whether you're talking about agents or just simplified workflows, um, yeah, it's something you really have to spend a little bit of time wrapping your mind around, because you could get lost, or worse, you could get confused by the hype and write it off as something like, well, it's not right all the time. Okay, neither are humans, but whatever, So I think like, yeah, there's something really facile and tactical and important about this moment in time that we're in that feels different to me. It, it's possible that we're in another Bitcoin moment, or NFT moment, I guess I should say, not Bitcoin, but I don't think so. I'm betting that we're not.
No, I agree, and I appreciate, and we say it often, we hear it often, but this is the worst it'll ever be, right? Because to your point, we challenge, we look at false positives, at bias and whatnot, but it's remarkable technology, right? It changes my world every day. It changes your world every day, and this is as bad as it will ever be. So you almost can't wait to see what tomorrow brings.
Uh, yeah, it's going to be mind blowing. Honestly, it's going to be mind blowing. I mean, just last week we got ChatGPT 4.0 image. I don't know if you've messed with this, but oh my god, it's demonstrably better than everything we had up until that moment. And so we're in this moment in time again. It's like wave. It's anime. It's like, well, GIFs don't move, and now they move. Oh my god, my world changed, right? And then Flash comes online, and now I've got online video. It's like, I don't know that it's a direct comparable, but the pace of innovation is really difficult to keep up with, right? Like it quite literally is something that you have to work at, and you have to sort of fix in your brain. I don't know the answers, but this something's important is happening here.
I won't take us down this path, I promise. But the early days of internet, I was excited. Then social came, and my worry stone was, how are the humans going to use this technology? And then, to your point, last week, image tech comes out from OpenAI. And what do? We start doing just crazy, silly. Look at the images we can draw, and politicians doing crazy things to other politicians. It's like, oh goodness, not again. Anyways, I digress.
No, I don't think that's a digression, Len. I don't, because I think, back, let's go back to the 90s. Like back then, what you heard often was like the adult industry was very, they were the first to adopt video streaming, for example, right? They were the first to do a lot of things that had nothing to do with the content of what they were doing, but they were reaching new audiences, and there was a lot of innovation out of that space. And you go, that's interesting what they're doing. I don't like it's like they have a huge audience because of the topic, and so how do we adapt this stuff? So I don't. I so I think my point is that like let's just take last week what happened, right? Like we saw the explosion of the plastic Mattel figurines, and people lost their minds. And then you get people, oh, this is really cool. You get people, this is just hype or whatever. But I think humans like to experiment with new stuff, right? And I think I think what we're seeing is natural. We're all trying to figure out how to use it. Can you use it for writing articles? Should you use it for writing articles? What's the best process to use it for writing articles? I wrote an article yesterday that started with me talking to the AI about this idea. I had a conversation like this. I left the conversation thinking, hang on, I got to capture that. What's the fastest way for me to capture it? I just turned ChatGPT on, just barfed out 7 or 8 minutes of like, I talked about this, we talked about that, we talked about this. As I did it, I refined the thinking just voice wise, right? And then the thing produced an outline for me. I took the outline, I put it in Claude. I was like, hey, Claude's a pretty good writer. Give me a set. I refined it. I went back to ChatGPT. So like we're all experimenting with these tools, and I think that's perfectly human, ironically, in a AI powered universe. But I think that I think there's something really cool in the, let's say, human machine collaboration that's happening right now, and I'm bullish on it.
Interesting. No, interesting take. Let's zoom into your world a little bit. At ThirdDoor Media, a company that's at the crossroads of search, marketing, technology, and live events. These areas, of course, have been flipped on their head by the internet, but now by AI. How are you seeing that play out? Is it a headwind? Is it a tailwind? Is it both?
It's both. It's everything. It's exciting. It's scary. Marketing teams have beaten up over the last 2 years, right? There's no other way to say it. Budgets have been slashed. People have been laid off. Teams are smaller. They have to do more with less. Thank God for AI on one hand. On the other hand, teams have to do more with less. So as a media company, our primary product is obviously providing marketing services for mostly marketing technology brands who want to reach marketers, which is the audience that we've built. martech.org, searchengineland.com. And so there's enormous headwinds for the media business. I think that's true across all B2B media businesses, most, probably all. Events are beleaguered because they're very expensive. It's expensive to travel. Food is expensive. Like it's just expensive to run in-person events. And yet, in a very human way, we all want to go back to events, right? We all want to go see. I want to see you, Len. I want to hang out. I want to get a big hug. So I think there's major headwinds at the same time because in our case, we got acquired in October by Semrush, a software company. We are in this weird and very cool position of being a media company inside a software company and trying to figure out how do we leverage what we've built, the relationships we have to not just help Semrush, but to continue to help all of our customers, whether it's Salesforce or LiveRamp or Telium or whoever's working with us, a bunch of them. And so it's pushing us in many ways to uh, figure out how do you, and I think we're going to talk about it. How do you continue to build audience in a universe in a marketplace where Google search is struggling because of LLMs or changes in Google algorithms or whatever the things are, and so how do you continue to maintain and build audience in that world is really challenging. It's forcing us to rethink fundamentally, like how do we build audience in this universe, and what does that look like? And I don't have the answer for it. If I did, I wouldn't tell you anyway. But my point is, like we're working on it, right? We're working on it.
Let's play on that point. And you and I had a conversation a couple of weeks back around end-to-end customer experience, and you made a comment that hit me like a bag of sand. If memory serves, it was the top of the funnel is dead in an AI world, or something to that. Am I getting that right-ish?
Ish, I think. Who knows? I say stuff and then I forget it immediately. But it's ish, yeah.
But I suspect that's one of those headwinds that you face, right? Discovery is different. Please.
Yeah, I mean that's it, right? And so again, like Google is not dead, SEO is not dead, whatever, right? There's a reason for people to use different tools to find things. I think the moment we're in now is fascinating. Just focus group of one, me. I find myself using ChatGPT search, Perplexity, uh, 50 to 80% of the time. Just right. And it's simple stuff like where did Paige Beckers go to high school? I don't know. I'm watching the WNBA draft, right? Like, oh yeah, she's in Minnesota, right? Okay. Um, I don't even care if the answer is right necessarily. These are low stakes, low friction. I just need the answer. Let's take a term like what is SEO? What is SEO for 18 years was probably the number one or two page on search engine land. And we're talking 40, 50, 60,000 page views a month just for that one term, right? Um, you don't need to ask Google what is SEO anymore. You're going to get a better answer and a conversation with ChatGPT or Perplexity with follow-up questions. I don't want to look at 400 links, 80 of them, sponsored links, right? Like the user experience, we talk about UX, the user experience of ChatGPT itself, right, wrong, or indifferent of what the results are, is so far superior. Again, focus group of one, so far superior that it's like apples and it's like Ferraris and horses. I don't know. Like it's a different thing. It's a different thing. I don't know if you've read the book Snow Crash, not Snow Crash, Diamond Age. I'm looking at it right here, Diamond Age by Neil Stephenson, which describes this sort of technology driven magic book, which is turns out it's like an iPad with an AI on it, right? And it's like this book was written, I don't know, 30 years ago or whatever at this point, and we have that in our hands now. Now it may not be perfect, right? And nothing. Well, what's perfect, right? Like the thing that's funny to me is like do a Google search and read, I don't know, 10 articles, and like half of them are quoting each other. Some of them have bad information. Some of them are written poorly. I don't know that the ChatGPT result necessarily is better or worse. I don't know, but I know it's easier. I know from a user experience standpoint, right? Like, do I want to go to your website and read a bunch of content that is just marketing crap, or do I just want the answer that I want? Right. And then, look, as a media publisher, like I'm terrified of what I'm saying, by the way. Like it's scary as hell. Like, like you just need, like, we live in a world where I just need the answer. Can you stop? Just give me the outcome I want and I'll go away. And, that is not a universe where like getting page views is the easiest thing to do. So fundamental business models will fall. We're in this weird moment. But from a UX standpoint, I mean, yeah, I actually, now that I'm thinking about it, like ChatGPT itself is probably one of the greatest UX innovations possibly ever, maybe. I don't know.
I would agree, and there's a lot to unpack in what you just shared. I'll pause and talk about reflect on some of the conversations you've had, you and I have had. Marc has really inspired me in our conversations of late to, well, the easy answer is, hey, Len, stop typing, pick up the microphone. And that led to, okay, Marc, let me give this a go. So phone in hand, chat GPT app open, AirPods in ear. I would take the dog for a walk and I would ask it to test my knowledge and experience excellence and strategy by asking me a series of questions. I will respond to those questions and I want you to tell me how I'm doing. And very long story short, that led me to walking around the neighborhood talking to myself, with every neighbor looking at me like I was a crazy person. That's fine. But there's a big bit there to unpack. And that is, this transition to voice is a seismic shift in how we engage with digital, with web. And I don't think the world at large has caught on. I'm not sure the technology's there yet. But to your point, I have stopped going to Google and saying, what electric car should I buy? And I'm now prompting my AI agents for perspective. Um, let's park here for a second because this is so interesting to me. In a future world order, is there an SEO content strategy? Is there anything marketers can be thinking about today to future proof their SEO content strategy in an AI dominant world?
The answer simply is yes. But you need to understand what's happening in order to kind of grok the whole thing. There's a guy named Mike King. He runs a company called iPullRank. He's running SEO Week, I think next week, if you want to plug SEO Week. I don't know, this won't be out by then, but he would have run SEO Week in New York City. I went to an event here in Raleigh and he kind of connected a bunch of dots that I was failing to connect on my own. So I owe him a great debt of gratitude of explaining to me what I was missing. It doesn't matter if Google, by the way, and Google has their own AI, right? So we know what they're testing, right? So it's all coming anyway. The way that we create content, reminds me a little bit of the early days of SEO. Like there's some tricks and some hacks and some things but what's different here, like keyword stuffing, you can't get away with keyword stuffing in like an LLM. But what you can do, is you can think about how LLMs work and why they work the way they work. And this gets, like beyond my level of technical understanding. But again, thanks to Mike, I'm like, okay, I get it now. Like when we think about vector databases and embeddings, those are really weird concepts. I can't fully explain them. I won't pretend to try how, but conceptually, I understand that when you type something in, what is SEO? There's a bunch of stuff happening at the LLM level, right? And it's looking at the vector, the database, the vector database, and the embeddings of the content it has, and it's reading it, and it's trying to figure out what is this person asking, and how do I give them the answer that I think they want, right? It has good intentions. It can hallucinate, as we all know. But regardless of the hallucinations, what it's effectively doing is it's saying this answer is the closest thing I can find to what was asked. So there's the answer. Gross oversimplification, right? But to point, when you look at how embeddings work and how you construct data for an LLM, there's a framework here that we're learning exists, and it probably changed. It'll probably change 50 million times with every new model, but there's a certain way of thinking about writing your content that is not dissimilar to SEO. Now, you want to be careful not to get into the SEO glue factory stuff where it's like we're just writing content for machines. The good news is, as it turns out, as scary as what I'm about to say is, LLMs are trying to model the human brain, right? Like they're trying to act human. So they're built that way. So the content goes in and comes out, right? They are consuming all of our human created content and synthetic content based on that content. And they're trying to give you a rational answer to your question or to, you want to make a poem or you want to draw a picture, whatever the model is. And so the answer is SEO is not only not dead, we probably will call it something different. I don't know that it'll be search engine optimization. I think I was on another podcast and I was like, when you LLM things, what do we call it? Are we LLMing it or is it like, what is it? And there's a bunch of industry terms, AIO, GEO, whatever they might be. We'll figure it, humans will figure stuff out. So we'll eventually settle how we'll call it this thing. But the creation of content when you sit down to write an article, no, you still have to think about like who's the audience, what do they want to know, how do I structure this page, how do I use hubheads, how do I use H2s, how do I like all that stuff is still super super relevant, and I suspect it always will be because there's a machine that's right. There's patterns. It's pattern recognition. So I think that SEO is not dead. I think it will change fairly dramatically. Um, I think I'm pretty sure I read that actual search volume is up. Right. So search volume's up because, as I said earlier, and I think you agreed, like, there's nothing better than talking with ChatGPT, right? It's awesome. Perplexity, your flavor, whatever you particularly call it or whatever. And so no wonder gross number of searches is climbing. People are having actual conversations with these things. Those are all searches, right? But what you find is that you don't need to click and go visit a page because you can just get the answer. So, we're talking about business model stuff, which is tricky, I think.
I'm putting in a plug now for the term share of model. That's something because as a marketer, I've always thought share of voice. And I think there's a future state world where we are thinking of what is our representation through the lens of a model. It's interesting to me. So trademark Devanna.
Yeah, do that. I think that's a good trademark to grab. You should want to register that and get the website. But here's the trick with that is that we're not talking keywords here. We're talking natural language. So share of voice of what? And so again, like, I think how you measure that will be interesting, but it's always been hard to measure, whether it's dark social or word of mouth, like how do you measure it? Like, I think our measurement models are in for a rough ride here over the next couple of years.
In your experience, do you see brands thinking about this yet and trying to get in front of it? I've not.
I think that there are people thinking about this. Brands, I'm sure there are, right? I'm sure there are, but the evidence I have, anecdotal as it is, talking to people and podcasts and stuff, I think senior level people don't understand. I don't think senior level people of a certain, I want to say age, but it's not really an age thing, of a certain mindset. I think it's very hard to wrap your head around true disruption. And again, I have a hypothesis that this is true disruption. It might not be, right? Like it might not be. And so if you're managing a business and it's worked really well up until this moment, like, has it stopped? Or like, is this a bump in the road and things will go back to normal? Or is this actually a transformative moment in time? I'm betting that this is a transformative moment.
Yeah, I'll just do a little housekeeping here. These are the sort of conversations that Marc and I'm lucky to have with Marc regularly. If you're enjoying this, do like and subscribe to the podcast, but also give Marc a look on LinkedIn. He's sharing interesting bits all the time. One that comes to mind recently was an AI agent in the voice of Matt Foley from Saturday Night Live fame, Down by the River. And you could ask this agent anything and get back an answer in the voice of Matt Foley. So give Marc a follow on LinkedIn because there's always some interesting bits coming out of that brain. Talk to me, friend, your thoughts on AI generated content. I believe, I don't know the recent stat, but we know that machine generated stuff is now north of half of all digital content. In a world flooded with AI generated stuff, how can a brand actually build trust and credibility?
I have an answer for this. I thought about this question. I've been thinking about this question. But let's start with human nature, right? If there's an easy way to do something that doesn't totally destroy what you're doing, you're going to do it. Like humans are going to do it. You know, so 99.9% of content at some point will be, AI driven, including, by the way, videos, right? Like it's coming. It's coming. That said, I think that is always a place and will always be a place for authentic voices. I don't think we're yet, we're on the way. I've seen some pretty cool demos and some things like we're on the way to having AI be able to generate, I wouldn't say authentic content, but human assisted authentic content. In other words, I believe that at this point, I can generate a piece of content that you would struggle to figure out, is it me or is it a machine? Or the truth is it both? Because I think that's the augmentation is actually where it's at. So I think that there's a time and a place for true AI generated content in summaries, or let's say press releases. Like there's stuff that's just, let's call it commodity content. And no one needs to spend a lot of time writing a press release, like whatever, in my opinion. Um, and frankly, an AI probably could do it better than most humans from that standpoint. But I do think that, certainly in the arts, graphics, I mean, no matter how good a model gets at generating, an image, I think there's something ineffable about human creativity. Again, I think it's going to be completely machine assisted almost immediately. It probably already is. So let's be honest, right? Like most content is going to be generated by AIs, um, at least assisted by AIs in a significant way. And why would you? Frankly, why would you not? Um, but to your question, like I think that if you're running a brand, like you should be careful, right? I think that's the rule here. It's like be careful. Like think about what happened when we got our hands on marketing automation tools, and I made this mistake, right? I made this mistake. I was reading all the people on LinkedIn or whatever. Oh, here's this follow up. Here's this drip campaign, and I remember the first time I unleashed one of these on a list, and I got just hate mail back. I was like, oh yeah, this does suck. This is obnoxious. I shouldn't have done this, right? Like, so again, like I think humans experimenting with technologies is a really good thing. We should encourage it. Being lazy is never acceptable, right? I mean, that's no good. So I don't know if that answers the question, but I think there's a path here. It's an exciting path because again, like I feel like the quality of my thinking, like here's a just a hot tip for using an LLM. When you've got something you think is good, just tell it to counter argue everything. I've been using the term red team. I've trained my version of ChatGPT. Hey, when I say red team, what I mean is argue intelligently from the other side. And I find that just in the dialogue with it, it's like, oh yeah, I didn't really, I fell in love with my idea. I have cognitive bias. Like, let me recognize my human factors, and then let's use the machine to check me on that stuff. If you remember to do that stuff, the quality of our work can go through the roof. I believe the quality of my work has gone through the roof in the last 6 months as I've learned how to use these tools. Maybe it's not true. Who knows? But like, what I'm saying is like, I think there's a path here, and I think it's an exciting one. But again, it requires like A, not being afraid of the technology, and then B, like invest a little time, like learn how to use it properly.
And I'm sure you'd agree. There's also a risk of brands over relying on the tech, right? If everything becomes AI generated from a brand, you've lost all of the. You run the risk of losing all authenticity.
I think that that's true if you're lazy about it. I mean, look, here's the reality, right? If you're running a small marketing team, let's say you have a 5-person marketing team and you have one copywriter, most of the stuff is going to sound like that copywriter, right? Like that's just the way it is. And so, and if you have, this was my fatal flaw as a graphic designer. Like I had a particular design pattern that I really liked, and I just used it too much. And be like, why? Hey, Mark, why do all your designs look the same? Like, I love the dotted line thing. I don't know. Like my brain. So, like, look, like I think that for me, it's like it's the human machine combo that I think is where there's unleashing power. But anybody who is going to look at this technology and think like I'm just going to automate all of it, I mean, you're just making a mistake. Like that. It's just because it's not going to be good enough.
So let's take that point. Let's dive down into experience a little bit. Is there any real world examples that you can think of today where you see AI actually meaningfully advancing an experience? And on the flip side of that, do you see anything that is overhyped or compromising experience?
Let me start with the second part, which is most of everything you're seeing is overhyped. Most doesn't mean it's not valuable. Like go search for N8N on Reddit or on TikTok and just watch some of the stuff. It's an agent platform. I've been playing with obot.ai, great guys, really cool platform. Um, and I've built some useful use cases, right? So for example, I have one that every Sunday night, it looks at my Google Search Console and it grabs some data and it just sends me a report. Hey, this is what happened on your site last week, right? And it's written in a fun voice and it makes little dumb jokes because I like to have dumb jokes in my content. Um, and I have one that I don't use this one anymore, but I had one for months that read every newsletter that came into my Gmail box. It would summarize it for me and send it to Slack. Hey, Mark, you got this newsletter, and it would say like, because I would say that like these are the things I'm interested in: leadership, tech, AI, marketing. So when you read this, summarize it, 3 bullet points max, and at the end, tell me, um, should I unsubscribe to this newsletter? It's not delivering value, right? Um, so like those are user experiences that I've built. Matt Foley is a good example of a fun one. Sometimes I need to pick me up and I want it in the voice of Matt Foley. I built a custom GPT for my sales team called Propello, which has all of our website, all of our marketing media materials, everything in it. And it's a tool that's designed to help a sales rep get up to speed very quickly on a customer. This is a customer I want to target. This is who they are. This is their URL. This is what they've done with us before. This is what I think I know about their stakeholders. You can paste in LinkedIn, whatever. And then the prompt is essentially like, give me a brief on this customer. Where do I stand? What should I think? So I think like there are individual or even team use cases that are remarkable. When I read the question, I was sort of thinking like, have I seen a front facing UX, great example of UX powered by AI? And I think I have. I think I've seen a lot of them, but I wouldn't call it generative AI. I think what you're seeing, let's just say Amazon, right? Machine learning on Amazon, Netflix. Like I was struggling with this question and I even coming to this phone call, I was like, what's the answer to this? But like, let's just use Netflix as an example, right? Pretty good job of understanding what I like. Pretty good job. Now, there's tricks to that. I was reading an article the other day about Spotify and, Spotify's DJ or whatever is kind of sort of okay. It's useful. It's gotten better over time. It will continue to get better. That's a good example of like, wow, great opportunity for, high level of personalization and discovery. How does it work? Does it work great? It'll get better over time. But I do think that like you have to be careful with the hype. And I'm doing some stuff here at Semrush that's really interesting. I'm involved with some IT and some marketing and this and that. And um you just got to be careful, right? Because you can spend a lot of time and end up in dark corners that are like, this is not going anywhere. And some of that's okay, but like, let's be careful. So a use case that, all of my, go to market sales friends, BDRs, everything, they'll be mad, but like, I'm not entirely sure how well automated outbound sales emails are actually delivering. I don't know. It seems unlikely that they're delivering a lot. And there's so much hype and there's so many companies saying that it works great. It's like, I don't know. But again, I'm open to it. It's everything's worth experimenting, I guess, a little.
Yeah, you talked about personalization, and one of the early promises of AI was hyper personalization. Right, we can deliver the right thing to the right person, the right moment, at the right time. Which it just sounds amazing in theory, but in practice, that's super hard. We're all on multiple devices. We've got different browsers. We've got different personas and identities. Um, is there a path there? How should marketers be thinking about that?
I want to answer this question in like multiple ways all at once. Let me just start by saying like I had an experience today, literally, where I've got a set. I've been paying for my own ChatGPT, and it knows me really well because I use it all the time. And I now have access to a Semrush ChatGPT Teams version, and they just released their upgraded memory thing, and I feel very torn. Right, like my personal version knows me really well by now. I've pruned the memories. Like it knows me. I've got custom GPTs. I've got workflow, but now I've got a work one. It doesn't know me at all. It's a hassle to retrain this thing. Honestly, I don't want to do it. I have to. I have no choice, right? But like, and so why am I saying that? The thing you said about different personas is that, right? It's like, I'm not convinced at this point that machine learning or AI, I know they're not in my head yet, right? And so let's just go back to Netflix. When I sit down and I open Netflix and I flip through the recommendations, and sometimes something resonates with me and sometimes it doesn't. What does that mean? And how can any third party entity know? Like I'm feeling down and I want to watch a sad movie because I just want to wallow for a bit. Or I'm feeling hopeful and I want to watch a rom-com. Like, I don't know, right? Like, by the way, I love rom-coms. Send me rom-com suggestions. I've seen them all. Um, uh, so like, I think the promise is greater than the reality. Look, the other thing I've been thinking about. So I don't think humans are chaos machines. I think that, when you get into the business of trying to predict human behavior, it's just math, right? It's numbers. You can't be right all the time. And so if the goal is to be right all the time, hyper personalization that is right all the time, I don't know that that's necessary. It's a little creepy. I don't know that that's necessary to get done what you need to get done, right? Like if I'm in a B2B mindset, I'm buying a piece of software, I'm doing research or whatever I might be doing, fair enough, right? Like I know you work at ThirdDoor Media. I know you're the CEO. I know that's fine. That's all good. But I think there's a limit to that. I don't think that necessarily I want to get an email from you in a cold email that's like, hey, I saw that you're on our website and you download this web white paper. Fair enough. But I also saw that you went to Florida State. And by the way, like I'm a fan too. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. Part of it is just like how you navigate that as a human. Is it creepy? Is it not? Some people pull off like, you and I know people who are like just masters at turns of phrases and they're so charming and they could say anything and get away with it. And there's other people that is just freaking creepy. So stop. So I don't, it's like, what kind of brand? I don't know. What, like, is your brand creepy? I don't know. I think like those are the things to think about. And it's very easy. I've been around a long time. It's very easy to get fooled by powerful technology, right? Here's this magical artifact I found. Maybe I should use it. It's like Genie's three wishes, right? Like, are you sure? You can't wish for more wishes. Go ahead, make three wishes. Like, I don't, like you better be really careful what you wish for. And I think that that's a bit of a Pandora box that we've opened with AI.
Reading between the lines, I think what I hear you saying is my MySpace page is never going to flourish like I'm holding out for.
I mean, throw the URL up. It might,
Fair enough. Mark, I'll start wrapping us up. I could do this with you for hours. Thinking about AI when it comes to brand, customer experience, artificial intelligence, is there a hill you would die on? Something you believe, even if it's perhaps not popular thinking?
I am starting to believe, like Neo starts to believe. I'm starting to believe that this is truly transformational. I can't prove it. I've been around. I've seen a lot of movies before, right? I've seen all those waves come and go. I'm starting to believe this is it. This is a big one, and it's going to change fundamentally, like our world. It's going to change in ways that we sort of. So just as an example, I went through an exercise. So at Semrush, they were running. I haven't even told you this yet. They were running a hackathon, internal hackathon. And the idea was come up with ideas that we could deploy in 2028. Imagine it's 2028. What's the user experience look like? And so I naturally, Len, as you know, went a little nuts. One wasn't enough. I did 4 use cases. And they were wild, right? I let myself go there. Like I really did. One of them was like, I've been playing this game Baldur's Gate. Not that I have a lot of time, but I've been playing this game Baldur's Gate. It's like amazing role-playing game, like a D&D kind of thing. And so I was like, what if the buyer process in 2028 is like a multiplayer, like a massively multiplayer world where you interact with brands? Maybe it's not visually like Baldur's Gate or World of Warcraft, but what if and then I was like, oh, actually it is like that today, right? Like buying enterprise software is in fact a massively multiplayer game. And there's challenges and there's quests and there's RFPs. It's like, I was like, oh, this is actually it's kind of a neat framework. Let me just let my brain go somewhere. And so I went there and I came up with some wild ideas and, I'm going to Barcelona next week to try to build one. I don't know what that looks like, but let's go. So I believe that we're on the cusp of something, ground shaking, not just a marketing thing. I think, healthcare and manufacturing, I think we're going to see some wild stuff. And so strap in, be ready for kind of anything, head on a swivel moment. I think it's really exciting. It's also really scary, right? Like of a 27 and 25-year-old, I don't know what their careers are going to look like. I don't know how you get jobs in this environment. I don't know how you keep jobs. I'm terrified I'm going to lose my job every single day. What do you do then? But at the same time, let's recognize what's happening and embrace it to the extent that like there's something really interesting happening. And so how do we navigate that? I think that's a worthy perspective.
One of the things I appreciate most about you, and this will make you uncomfortable for a second, is your ability to untether yourself from norms, technology norms, societal norms, and let your brain wander. And I really appreciate that because it's evident in some of the things that you've shared. It's like, my goodness, how did that head get there? With that as a backdrop, and I'll wrap us up here. Is there, if you could sort of reflect on your professional journey, is there a piece of advice you might share with someone early on their career, an insight that you wish you knew years back, that you could share with our audience?
Yes, there is. There's one or two. First of all, what's that Mike Tyson quote about getting punched in the face?
Everyone has a plan until you get punched in the face.
I wanted to be a creative director at an agency. I went and worked at an agency and said, I don't want to work at an agency anymore. What does that mean? Right? Like, I saw the internet in Wired magazine in 1993 and my head blew off my shoulders and was like, I didn't plan on being an internet person. I thought I was going to be a copywriter or a designer. Or, I don't know. I think I wanted to be an architect when I was really little. I wanted to be a baseball player. It wasn't good enough. So like my journey has been really windy. As you know, I spent 10 years in nonprofit. Who expected that? I did not expect that. Um, I think the thing that I'm thinking a lot about, especially, in relation to my kids, as I watch their journey in a very different environment than we grew up in, is find a way to force yourself. And it seems like a really stupid thing to say, like even saying it's like, that's trite. It's not. It's actually like, you can complain and you can bitch and moan and you can sort of like, it's not fair. But at the end of the day, I think the only secret to success I have, because I don't think I'm smarter than other people. I don't think I'm whatever. I'm not that good of a designer. I'm not a very good coder, kind of a middling writer. I think I just force myself. Like I'm not giving up. I don't do it in a weird way. I don't do it in a mean way, but like just not giving up. And I think like in my career, I've had some ups and some downs and some highs and some lows, but I don't think I ever was like, I'm just going to force myself to sit here and read this freaking article and understand it. And so that's what I'm trying to tell my kids, is what I tell anybody who's starting out. Like, just get into it, force yourself through it, and be open to, like, it's just not going to go the way you think it's going to go. Like, just like, be okay with that. And there's a lot of people who can't. I get it. I mean, I worked in the autism world for a long time, and like, there are certain people who just cannot get out of their own way because of their brain chemistry or because of the way they think about it or perfectionism. It's just not the world we live in. And again, like with AI, I don't know, man. I think, it's like, woo, what happens next?
It's sage advice. We were saying it when I was a kid. The world is your oyster, right? Carve your path because there is one there for you. You have to find it. Yeah. Mark, I really appreciate your time today, I'm sure you've had enough with my Spanish Inquisition. Let's close here. Tell us about you. Tell us what's going on in your world. Tell us where we can find you online. How do we follow along with the trials and tribulations of Marc Sirkin?
I appreciate that. So yeah, I mean, my LinkedIn, Marc Sirkin, just look me up. LinkedIn's a good place. I did launch a Substack this week, which I did not expect to do, but I have a new Substack. I will have a podcast that goes with it shortly called Playbook Broken. We'll be exploring like how playbooks are breaking and what people are doing about them. Apropos for this conversation. ThirdDoor Media is the company. If you are looking to reach marketers in any shape, form, size, search marketers, marketing technology, CMOs, VPs of marketing, whatever, they all read our sites. We have all sorts of good ways to reach them, open to all sorts of partnership ideas. You should talk to me if you want to reach marketers. That's cool. And if you want to have a conversation with Len and I, Len, I'll just offer this up. Len has a PlayStation 5. I have an Oculus. We have a mini golf game that we have business meetings in every once in a while. Although we haven't done it in a while, but you should join us once if you're out there and you want to hang out. Because I
It's
need
an open invitation.
it's open.
Yeah, we have some fascinating conversations in the world of VR golf for
That's right.
sure.
No, we do. And I should mention Semrush. So Semrush, acquired us a few months ago. I think take a look at what they're up to. I think there's some really interesting things that they're doing on the data side that are potentially game changing if you're in the marketing space.
Marc, you're an amazing person. You've had an incredible career that comes from you being always curious, always staying sharp, and always being real. And that, frankly, comes through in every conversation we've ever had. My friend, you inspire me. I'm sure our listeners and our viewers appreciate, or you've inspired them as well. Thank you, friend. Thank you for taking the time today.
Thank you for having me, and congratulations on the new podcast gig, brother.
Cheers.